Aloha. Thank you for trying one of our Tealight files. I'm going to burn through this tutorial pretty quick. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to the email address that you can see on the screen here. So the most important thing when using these files is to make sure that you use the correct file size for the material that you'll be working with. We've included file sizes that will work with any material between 3.0 and 4.0 millimeters, so anything in the eighth of an inch range. That means any material from Glowforge, from GS2 Awards, Smoky Hill Designs, Johnson Plastics Plus, anywhere in the eighth of an inch range will work just fine. First thing you want to do is get an accurate measurement of the thickness of the material that you're working with. I like to use calipers just to get a really accurate idea. Here you can see that my wood in this circumstance is 3.12 millimeters thick. I'm going to round that up to 3.15. I always minus 0.15 millimeters. So I'm going to use the kerf test file. It's included with all your files. Here I'm checking 3.0 and it looks like a good fit. You don't want to do something that's too loose like this, nothing wiggly. Definitely don't want to use a file size that'll be too tight. So just make sure you find the correct file size for the material that you're working with. So these files are all created in Inkscape, which is a free vector manipulation program. You can download Inkscape off the internet. If you want to manipulate these files, if you want to add a logo or change them in any way, you're going to have to first open them in Inkscape and do your file conversions from Inkscape. So if you open the file in Inkscape, you can save it as a plain SVG. That'll allow you to open it in other programs like AI, etc. There's also a couple other file types that you can save it as in Inkscape. Once you have manipulated the, the file any way you want to, if, like me, you use Lightburn or RDWorks, you can just open these files. You will want to delete the instruction bars there, but otherwise you just have to set your settings and these files are ready to print. Similarly, if you are using a Glowforge, then all you need to do is import these files. Again, you're going to want to obviously delete the little instruction bars, but otherwise you just need to set a cut and a score. I need to move some things around there. And that's it. You're good to go here in Glowforge as well. I have a piece of draft board in there, but I don't recommend making these out of draft board. And so here are the parts that you'll need to put together one of our Tealights. A little clear acrylic for the template, whatever wood you want to use, some nice colored papers. You can also use clear flex. There's a link to these little battery-operated Tealights that we like to use in the description of this video. A little quick dry tacky glue, razor blade, rollers, ceramic tile, and finally a little Bob Smith Industries gel super glue. So I've used the clear acrylic to print out the, if you do choose to use some clear flex from Smoky Hills, you want to cut those out with the laser machine, and you can just use a couple of little dots of super glue to adhere those. But otherwise, if you're going to use the colored mulberry paper, you can print out the paper template on some clear acrylic, and then all you need to do is use that template to cut your color squares. I should mention here that these aren't perfectly square, So there is a long side and a short side to these template pieces. So when you're gluing them on, it's kind of important that you make sure you've got the right orientation. And once we've got those 4 panels cut out, we're going to go ahead and spread a little glue, quick dry tacky glue, onto our ceramic tile. Grab one of our rubber rollers. I've set up a couple of paper towels here, one wet and one dry. It's just the way I like to glue these on here. So just spread a little glue on your roller, and working within those score lines that we made when we cut these panels, just roll a little glue, make sure that within those score lines there's full coverage of glue. Make sure you've got the right orientation with your paper template, and just place it in there, smooth it down. If you have a little glue overage, that's what the wet paper towel and dry paper towel are good for. Just clean up your edges a bit. And then we're just going to repeat this process for all 4 panels. Alright, so now I've got all 4 of my panels glued up. I'm going to switch over to my Bob Smith Industries gel super glue. Got the base of the Tealight and the little circle piece. There are a couple of score marks in the middle of the base to help align that circular piece, and that's of course just there to keep the Tealight itself centered in the Tealight holder. And these pieces are optional. These are just a lid piece for the Tealight. They do make the Tealight look very nice, but they also take up a lot of material, so you decide whether this is something you want. If it is something you want to use, just again, a few dots of super glue, and do your absolute best to center this piece. Glue it down onto the top there. So that's it for the super glue. Now once we've got these pieces all glued up and tightened down, the next thing we're going to do is put the body of the Tealight together. So get your 4 panels. Make sure that your little tab protrusions are all on the bottom, and just slide the 4 panels together. I like to put a few dots of super glue on the bottom as well. If you used the correct file size, everything should fit together snugly. Not too loose, not too tight here. Alright, so now we can put the body of the Tealight onto the base of the Tealight. And here, if you do decide you want to use that optional lid piece, this is where you can put a little more super glue onto the top of the Tealight, and just make sure that you align that top piece very carefully as you set it down onto the super glue. And there we have a completed Tealight. If you choose to use real Tealight candles with these, just do so at your own risk. They are made of wood and paper. battery-operated tea lights seem to work just fine for us. And there you are.